Hey guys, HardlyBriefDan here with the September Game of the Month series. This is episode 2 of Detective Dave, and the first thing I want to do is go ahead and cover a few things before we jump back into the coding. And basically, based on a comment, mentioned the person asked, or wondered why we don't do some more random generation. Randomly create suspects, randomly create witnesses, randomly create where the items spawn and stuff. And I thought about it, and that's probably a better idea because it increases replayability, and it probably won't be too hard. So we actually are going to change that, and I've been working on changing up the game design document, which you can find below, a link below, excuse me. And so what we're going to do is actually randomly generate a brand new case every time you decide to create a new game. And so instead of having a very cookie cutter case that once you solve you can never play the game again, we're going to go ahead and change it up on you. So good idea. I'm glad you left the comment because I like the idea, and it's good. So that is going to change a few things, how a few things work. Again, we're not going to have the cookie cutter script case that is in the design document now. We're going to have a randomly generated one. By doing that, we're going to have to cut down on a couple things because just basically the number of robbers, just because it's going to create a little complexity that might take us too much time to solve and completely implement by the end of the month. But if we have time, we can definitely do it. The next thing I wanted to say is I apologize if you guys didn't realize a point and click adventure to me was just a simple mystery puzzle game. I didn't know. I assumed that was fairly obvious, and I shouldn't have assumed that. So I apologize for that. Someone had mentioned maybe if we could do that this would be a Diablo type game. Maybe we could do that in the future. Some of those things you can learn from the Unity Make an RPG series I'm doing. But that's a little bit more complicated, and I don't think we can finish a game like that in a month. But maybe we can later on. So I'll keep an open mind to it. Thanks to you for the comments and the feedback. Appreciate it. And we're going to go ahead and get started. First, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick review of what we did last time. And basically, I kind of introduced you to the game of the month and what we're going to be doing. We're going to be using Unity 4.6, so hopefully you've gotten that, downloaded that by now. If you haven't, the link is down below in the description, and we're using it because the new GUI is fantastic and it's just so much better than the previous one, and I think it'd be good for all of us to learn how to use Unity 4.6. But we went ahead and created a main menu scene. We created a main menu GUI script, and we added these buttons here that when you click them, I'm going to go ahead and press play. They say new game button clicked, and so there's some functionality already to these buttons. They don't do much, but there is some there. Showed you guys how to create a canvas, which this is what we did. It's called a canvas. I renamed it to main menu. So we're going to go ahead and work from that. So there's two things that we need to do to kind of get into our case generation script, and that's what I'm calling it. And that is we need to create a base class called evidence and another base class called suspects. So evidence is going to be almost like an item. So let's say you're playing a game and you pick up a stick, right? That is an item. So evidence is going to be our items, right? And those are going to range from a gun to fingerprint to, I don't know, a random piece of paper that doesn't mean anything. So we need to go ahead and create those items. And then we need to create suspects. And suspects are going to be, a suspect can be anyone. It's just a person, like an NPC, but I'm just going to generally label it a suspect because, anyone can be a suspect at, whenever. So we're going to go ahead and create those two scripts, and then we're going to start working on our case generation script. I'm going to kind of lay it out, describe to you what I think we should do with it. You guys can go ahead and leave your feedback, comments and stuff on what you think about it, and then we'll continue on over the next, few videos. I haven't written this before, so this is all off the cuff. So hopefully I don't make too many mistakes, and hopefully we can learn something together. But I'm going to go ahead and create two new C# scripts. The first one's going to be called evidence, right? And then the second one will be called suspects, or suspect. I'm going to go ahead and open these up in Mono Develop. So they're here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in for you guys. And this is the script that we worked on last time, which is the main menu script. I've changed a few things, which is just a couple comments. I did this right before I started the video. But basically, I changed up the kind of what we're going to be doing. The first thing we're going to do is when you click the new game button is we're going to delete all the saved data. And the way you do that with player prefs, which is what we're going to be using, is go ahead and do player prefs dot delete all. And that's a function, right? So that's going to delete everything that's associated with this project in player prefs. The next thing we're going to do is create a random case. And this is what we're going to call a random case generation script or function that we haven't created yet, but we will start today. And that's where we're going to go ahead and jump into our evidence and suspect scripts. If you have watched my Make an RPG series, I kind of talk about how you create this base class that basically other classes inherit it from. So if we create an evidence class, we can go ahead and create evidence pieces. So you can create a gun item, evidence item. It's of type evidence, and it has all these features in it, or these variables associated with it. And that's what we're going to do with suspect and evidence. So starting with suspect, we go ahead and delete model behavior, and because we don't need it, we go ahead and delete all that. And then we're going to go ahead and create a public enum. And this enum is going to be a suspect called suspect types. So suspect types. Okay. And suspect types is going to be where we decide what this person is. Are they a witness, right? So are they a witness? Are they the robber? Are they no one? So none. Or, you know, are they witness, robber, or are they just maybe we can say key witness or key witness. So that kind of, a key witness could be someone that's like, maybe it's the bank teller that the robber robs from, you know. That's a key witness. A normal witness would just be an innocent bystander. So those are the types. We can add more and take away more depending on, you know, how our case generation script comes. But I wanted to add that. We also want to add a public enum, and it's going to be a, we're going to call it gender types. So we want to have our suspects have a gender, and these are going to be male or female. You can add more if you want, if you're creative and come up with a different type of gender. So we have male or female. And then we're going to go ahead and create a couple public variables, and one of them is going to be a string, and it's going to be suspect name. And we're going to go ahead and do get and set. These will allow us to retrieve and set these variables later on. So public string, and it's going to have a suspect bio. We're going to go ahead and get set, right? We're going to have a public age, so it's going to be an integer. It's going to be suspect age. We'll go ahead and get and set. And then we're going to go have a public gender types, right? We need a gender, so it's going to be public variable of type gender types, and it's going to be called suspect gender. And we'll do get and set. If I'm moving too fast, let me know in the comments, by the way. So now we're going to have another public variable. It's going to be of type suspect types, and it's going to be suspect type. So I think this is good amount for now. We have, you know, 5 things that we can choose: a name, a bio, not biology, a bio, an age, a gender, and a type. And then we can go ahead and assign photos and stuff to these later. That's not important for now. We don't need to have them in here. But we're going to go ahead and control S to save. We're going to jump into our evidence script, and we're going to go ahead and delete model behavior because we don't need that. We're going to erase all that. And we're going to do kind of the same thing. So I'm actually going to go ahead and copy all this. Well, I'm going to actually copy suspect types. We're going to change it. I'm going to go ahead and copy name, age, and bio and stuff because we need some of those. So instead of suspect types, we're actually going to have evidence types, okay? And I actually might change that to evidence. We'll call it evidence types. But basically, these are going to be priorities, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and delete suspect gender. But anyways, these are going to be kind of like a priority. So if a piece of evidence is just random crap, we don't need it, it's nothing, it's not important, it's just something to look at, then the evidence type is going to be, we're going to call it trash. Okay, and then if it's a super useful, we need it, we're going to call this key. We'll call it key evidence type. And then if it's I'm trying to think, like mediocre, I guess. What can we call that? We can say we'll just call it medium evidence type, and then we'll say the last one we'll say low. And this is just going to give us a few. Actually, we're going to just call that one high instead of key. So we have high, medium, low, and trash. So trash is completely useless. High is the best. This is, this will prove this person did it. Medium and low is, the in between. And if we don't end up using those, or it's kind of useless mechanic, we can get rid of it later. Because we're still creating it. We're going to fine tune it all once we get it in and ready and set up and running. So the first thing we need to have is an evidence name, right? So not evidence type, or not suspect name, but evidence name. So I'm going to go up here and just Control C to copy that. I'm going to highlight suspect and Control V to paste it. We're going to go ahead and put a evidence bio, but I'm going to change bio to description. So just descript. We don't need an age, so we can go ahead and delete that. And then we have evidence type. So there's not much to our evidence yet, but we can go ahead and add more later. But this will get us off the ground and running. So now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and jump back into Unity. And we're going to go ahead and create a new C# script. And we're going to call this case generation. I'm going to open that up in MonoDevelop. And this is a script, and we're not inheriting from MonoBehavior. This is the script that's going to be called in our main menu GUI. So we're going to go ahead and create a new public void function. So public void. It's going to return nothing, and we're going to call this generate a new case. So this function is where all the meat of this, it's where all it's going to happen. We're going to generate suspects, evidence, and well, that's it, suspects and evidence. But it's going to be down to witnesses, key witnesses, and robbers, and the key high priority evidence pieces. That's what's going to be done there. So what we need to do now is go ahead in our main menu GUI. We're going to actually access this script now. So at the top, we're going to go ahead and make a private variable. It's going to be of type case generation, which is the script that we just created, or the class. And it's going to be called case gen script. We're going to go ahead and set that equal to a new instance of it. So basically what this is doing is giving us access to all these public functions in this case generation class, this case gen script variable. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that down in our player prefs and under our player prefs in the on new game button function. I wrote a comment that says create new random case, and that's where we're going to go ahead and do case gen script dot, and you'll see our generate new case function, and that's how we're going to call it. So much like I called player prefs here, it's the same idea, and we're just going to call generate new case. So I'm going to go ahead and Control S to save, and now we're actually in this function. And to prove that we're in here, we're going to go ahead and do debug log generate. Oh, you know what? Debug dot log. Why isn't it finding it? Debug log. We're going to say generate case, like that. It's throwing a weird error. It should be all right. I'm going to go ahead and press play and new game, and now you see we actually are calling that debug statement. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of it just because it's causing a weird error in IntelliSense. The syntax highlighting thinks it's wrong, and it's not. Okay. So now we are generating case, so we're accessing this function. We need to go ahead and kind of just type out what we think needs to be done to create a case. What is needed? Well, the first thing we need to decide or to create a robber, right? So we need to say, hey, we need a robber, and who is this robber going to be? What's his name? What's its gender? And what they rob? What they use. So we're going to go ahead and say, okay, we need a robber, so we're going to go ahead and create one. This is going to be our first function. So under our public void generate new case, we're going to go say private void create robber, create new robber, like that. And this is where we're going to go ahead and create the robber. And to show you real quick that you can't access private functions, this is not necessary, but if you go ahead and copy this case gen script in the main menu class, you can go ahead and Control V to paste it. And when I hit period, you won't be able to see the new function we just created because it's set to private, so we can't access it. So only the generate new case class can access that function. So anyways, we're back in the case generations class. We're going to go ahead and create our new robber. But before we do, we want to go ahead and comment a few other things. So after we create a robber, we want to go ahead and create suspects, other suspects. And then we want to choose main case objects or evidence pieces. So what I mean by this, choose main case evidence. Basically, I will only want to, at the end of the game, when you think you're ready to solve it, you can choose certain evidence pieces that you want to turn in for a score. And what we're going to do is you can choose the few that you think are the most important from what you found. But there's going to be like 3 to 5 exact pieces, right? So that'd be like the weapon they use to rob the bank with, fingerprints maybe, anything like that. Anything that you think is important or relevant to solving the case, those will be the evidence pieces that we generate. So yeah. So up at the top, we need to go ahead and create a new, we're going to make it a public variable for now. It's going to be of type suspect, and this is going to be our robber. We're going to just call it robber. And this is the robber that we create, right? So under the comment that we created that we need to create a robber, we're going to go ahead and call this create new robber function, like so. And this is where we're going to say let's create him. So in the new create robber function, we're going to say robber is equal to a new instance of suspect. This is going to allow us to access its type and stuff, and gender and name and that kind of stuff. So what we want to do is the first thing we're going to go ahead and assign the type. So we're going to go robber.type or suspect type. It's going to be equal to suspect.suspecttypes dot and we're going to say robber. All right. So what we've done here is we've created a new instance of our robber as a new suspect. So basically that robber inherits a name, a bio, an age, a gender, and a type. And then what we're doing now is setting the suspect type to robber because that's what it is. We're going to go ahead and randomly choose a gender. So we're going to go robber.gender, suspect gender, is going to be equal to suspect gender types of random. I think we want to go do random.range from 0 to 1. And this might throw an error because let's see, I'm trying to remember. Suspect types, this is going to be either female or male, so I think, I'm trying to remember how to do this. All these enumerations in suspect this is a 0 and this actually is a 1. It has numbers associated with it. So we've done this before, and I'm actually going to go ahead and open up a script here, if I can find it. I don't remember the exact code, but we've done this before in the Unity Make an RPG series, and I'm going to go ahead and show you that. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up in just a second. Give me a few minutes. It is under our items. Create potion. Here we go. Okay. Oh, wrong thing. Shoot. Thought I had it, but I didn't have it. Go ahead and open. Here we go. Okay. So basically, in this create, this is a script from our Make an RPG series, and we have this choose potion type here, and this value down here randomly chooses a potion type. So it randomly chooses a type of suspect, or a type of whatever the numeration is, and assigns it. So I'm going to actually go ahead and copy and paste these two lines into our case generation, and then I'll go ahead and explain it a little bit more. So what's happening here is we're creating an array, and we're going to call it genders. Okay? Right? Genders. And then we're going to say system.enum get values, type of, and then it's going to be suspect, and then it's going to be gender types. And then instead of new potion here, it's going to be robber. Instead of dot potion type, it's going to be gender type. Or suspect gender, excuse me. And it's going to be of type suspect. Gender types. What is this? Genders. Dot get value, random range of genders. Dot length. Okay. So let me go ahead and explain this to you guys, since I just copied and pasted it. But basically, we have this enumeration in our suspect script right here. It's called gender types, right? And gender types, there's two things in here. So it's of length 2, and it's male or female. If you have more, you have more. It's up to you. But what we're doing is we're going to create an array of genders, right? So we're creating a new array. It's called genders. And we're going to set it equal to all of the gender types that are in the enumeration. So basically, we're passing the values. This is the get values, right? We're passing the values of suspect.gender type. So we're passing into this new array called genders these two genders here, this male and female. So that's what we're saving in this genders array. And then we're setting our robber.suspectGender. We're setting our gender equal to this random range of the array called gender's length. So it's saying, hey, this line of code right here is saying, hey, set our new suspect, our robber's gender, equal to either male or female, or if you have 100 genders, it's going to say male, female, gender 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you have. It's going to randomly pick one of those. It's going to set it equal to the gender. This suspect.gender types here in parentheses is called a typecast. So when it actually gets the value out of the array genders here, it's going to typecast it back. So basically, when it's saved in this array, it doesn't look like what you would see a male or female. But when it retrieves it and when it sets it equal to the suspect gender in robber, it's going to make it look like male or female. Hopefully you understand that. Hopefully I kind of explained it well. If not, leave me a comment and I'll try to re-explain it. But basically we're doing this to set our gender type. Okay, the next thing we need to go ahead and do is set a name, a bio, and age. And so the way we're going to do age is very simple. We're going to go do robber.age, suspect age, and we're going to set that equal to a random dot range. And this is just going to go from, let's say 20, 19, instead of 20, we're going to say 19 to, I don't know, 55. So this is going to randomly choose a name or an age for us from 19 or from 19 to 54 because it's actually 1 minus the max. So we'll go ahead and say 56. It doesn't matter. This is going to be whatever you want. You can have an 8-year-old, be your robber age. It's up to you. So now the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is create two public, or we're going to go ahead and create private strings. But it's going to be two private string arrays. So we'll do string and then array, which is the square brackets. And we're going to call this male names. I'm going to set the equal to a new string array. And then we're going to go ahead and do these curly brackets, and we're going to add a name in here. I'm just going to go ahead and add Bob for now. Next thing we're going to do is private string. It's going to be another array, and you guessed it, female names. And if you didn't guess it, well, sorry. But we have female names here. It's going to be a new string array. Like that. And we'll go ahead and put one in here, and we'll call it Stacy. So basically what we can do now is add tons of names. You can go ahead and add as many names as you want. I'm going to add several in just a second, and that's how we're going to choose our name based on our gender. So I'm going to go ahead and do one. Let's say Tom, Bill, let's say Derek. I don't know. I'm not the most creative, so don't get upset. But we're doing Derek, and then we'll go ahead and do we'll do Dan because I'm Dan. We'll do Chris. And you can come up with as many names you want. Obviously, I like to stick towards the start of the alphabet. We'll go ahead and do Steven. That's a common name. Bam, like that. All right. So now we have Stacy. We'll go ahead and do let's see, Erica. We'll do Jessica because that's what I had in there. Jessica. We'll go. Let's see, Stacy, Erica, Jessica. Wow, I don't even know. We'll do Laura. Let's say. What do we think? Christina. Okay. Well, let's do one more, and we'll do Dawn. That works. All right. So if you have, leave your name. I can add it. Ash. I'll do it. Anyways, leave your name. If you want it, we can add it. Whatever works. Okay, so now that we have male and female names, we're going to go ahead and choose a male or female name. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to look at our gender. So we're going to say if robber dot gender type suspect gender is equal to gender types suspect dot gender types dot male. Right. So if we're a male, we want to go ahead and say our robber suspect name is equal to a random male names dot random male names bracket random dot range 0 to male names dot length. I didn't find it. I'm gonna go ahead and male names dot length. And so what this is doing, to explain, is we're saying, hey, if our gender is a male, so if our new robber is a male, then we're going to say assign our new suspect name to the robber, and we're going to randomly choose a value between 0 and the length of the string array and pull it out, so of the male array. So if you don't know, an array is actually numbered, and it starts at 0. So it's 0, I'm up at the top here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's actually a length of 7, but it's going to choose between 0 and 7, or 0 through 6, because it's actually minus 1. So a random range here, it's going to say if it chooses a 1, if our random.range 0 through length is a 1, it's going to choose Tom. If it's a 3, it will choose Derek. Yeah. So that's how we're going to do the male. And then for female, we're just going to do else. So if we're not a male, then we're obviously, well, in this case, we're a female. Not obviously. But in this case, we're a female. We're going to do the same thing, but instead of male names, we're going to do female names. So we'll go do female names. And then female names dot length. And then the next thing we need to do is we need a bio. And I don't have any bios written up, so we're going to go ahead and create one for now. It's going to be a private string array for now, and we're going to say suspect bios. Be a new string array. We are probably going to change this just because it's going to be long and hard to write several bios up in a little array like this, but we can come back to that later. But basically, this is a robber. Because we're not going to be getting into creating all of our suspects today, we're just going to go ahead and do our suspect bio of just having the one. So in our create new robber, we're going to go ahead and do robber dot suspect bio, and we're going to go ahead and set that equal to suspect bios bracket 0, like that. So what this is doing is it's pointing to the 0 index of our array called suspect bios, which in this case is a robber string, and we're setting it equal to our robber dot suspect bio. So now we have a robber, and given it a suspect type, we've given it a gender, an age, and a name, and a bio. So we have it, right? So we have it all there. So now we need to go ahead and store it in a variable, and in this case we're going to store it, we're storing it in suspect robber. And so now we can go ahead and display all this in debug statements, so we can tell that we created it. So I went ahead and copied this debug.log, and now we're going to go ahead and instead of doing generate case, we're going to go robber name. So robber.suspect name. I'm going to copy this because we're going to just display it all. Like, what is it, 5 times, I guess? Because we have under name, we're going to go age. Then we're going to do bio. And then we'll do gender. And then we'll go ahead and do type. Alright, so we have our name, age, bio, gender, and type. When I go ahead and Control S to save, we're generating our new robber. We're accessing. So first thing you're going to see is generate new case. We're going to have another debug statement up here just to kind of space it out. We'll go debug.log and we'll say generated robber. Like that, right? So everything under generated robber will be our new robber. So gonna go ahead and play. We're gonna create a new game, and in our console up here, you're gonna say, "Hey, we created we clicked the new game button. We generated a case. We generated a robber. His name is Chris. He's age 35. He is a robber. His name's male, and his gender is male, and he's type robber." I'm gonna go ahead and create a new game again, and we should create a new one. In this case, her name is Laura. She's 20 years old. She is a robber, and she's female. Do it again. We have another female, Jessica, 53. So hopefully you kind of see this together. We have Tom. He's 50. He's a robber. So see you getting together. It's not super complex, but it's definitely working, which is what we want. And this is the first step to creating a new case. So in the next video, we'll go ahead and cover how to create other suspects in the main evidence. But I wanted to cover, the beginnings of our random generated cases. Thank you for the comment. I appreciate it, because I think this is a much better way to go. And it will definitely add replayability to our game. So anyways, I hope you liked the video. I hope you learned something. Please like, subscribe, comment. You can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, or Facebook. I like to update everyone on there with what's going on with me. Again, love your feedback. If you have any questions, concerns, leave them in the comments below or message me on YouTube, and I'll try to get back to you. Until next time, hope you guys liked the video.